Welcome back to another Nerd Enthusiast Poker Podcast. I'm Anthony DeHogie, and I'm here with my man, not the man.
Brian, not the man.
Brian, not the man.
Keen.
Don't. I'm a little nasally, just coming off of a cold, man.
You sound absolutely terrible. Actually.
It's been a rough week, man. I know.
Got the vid. Way to go. Spreading it. Appreciate it.
It's not COVID, man. No fevers. I'm good there. It's just your normal like crappy Northeast January cold, man.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
just
it's
like
bitter out today.
We're going to Florida in like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I cannot wait. I look forward to this trip. This is why I look forward to this trip. Listen, I'm gonna win, but in my mind, I'm like, I don't even give a shit. Like if I just have a horrible weekend, it's like you know what else is nice too. And I think you were down there when we were in Tampa, right?
Yeah.
Like the one thing that's nice too is that it's about an hour more of sunlight a day too down there. So like it gets darker later, and you're just like, man, that extra sunlight is just.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm just looking forward to sitting in a casino, grinding for 4 or 5 straight days. Cause look, I busted out of a tournament. Guess where I'm going? Cash game. And guess what time I'm leaving? Late. I'm not even going to see the sun. You know, I'm going to see the sun when we wake up before we go to the casino.
Yeah, but it feels good, man. Like, I'm not, a runner like you are, but I like going out for jogs in the morning. Like, it's nice out. It's 70 degrees and all. And I got a bankroll now to do it.
Bankroll. It's funny because the last time we were there, I was like, I woke up and you guys were like, where the fuck you going? And I was like, I'm going to run to the bank. And you're like, wait. You're going to run to the bank? And I'm like, yeah, it's like a 2-mile run. Yes. I'm going to run back. I need money. You're like, why don't you just get an Uber? I'm like, no, fuck that. I'm just going to run there. And that was my workout for the day. But yes, let's get back to it. Huge score.
Yes, huge score. So for yous and everyone watching at home or listening
for
at
utes.
Home. Utes at home.
Did you say utes?
Yeah, 2 utes.
Yeah. So if you don't know, I hit the $100,000 mystery bounty prize, one of them, at the Borgata, which we have been talking leading up to an event.
Yep.
So I figured we'd talk about that, start with that. So that was the first event I played. Day one was just okay. I did post a video, got a 3-way all-in with aces, and survived.
Yeah, that was sick.
So I was like, okay. And if you watch the video, I think the one guy had jacks, but then like another dude, just like we talked about before, mystery bounties. And now this was day one, so the mystery bounties weren't even in play yet.
I know what that dude was thinking.
He had like 8-9 or something like that, or 7-8 or something, and just called off. Like just crazy play, even though the bounties weren't in effect. So bounties in this event didn't kick in until the top 300 players. Money wasn't until like the top 200.
That was like the third level.
I know. It was, but as soon as I sat down, man, this is going to be a nutty table. So I just kind of held my own, picked up a couple spots, got that aces hand, really juiced up from there, and played solid, finished day one. Day two came back. We still weren't in the bounties, and we still weren't in the money yet.
Yeah, I remember talking to you, and you're like, man, I need a double. And I'm like, you're good, dude. Like, every time I talk to you, you're like, 15 bigs, 30 bigs, need a double.
And so I was getting low, and so I had, Ryan Dodd, who was on the podcast.
Yeah.
Directly to my left, or two to my left.
He was on your day two seating
yes.
assignment. Yeah, I saw
so that. I was like, all right. And I played one bad hand against him where I misclicked. Basically, I did not see him raise under the gun, and it's obviously my fault. And I ended up having ace-king this hand. I was in the small blind, and the dealer's hand was like in front of the chips, so I never saw the raise. And I made this like shitty min raise because I thought it was blind versus blind.
Okay.
And it was like, I don't know. So long story short, I lost a good chunk on that hand. I missed the ace. I c-bet and then tried to turn. It just didn't work out well. Ryan, and I talked to him after the hand. He's like, shit happens. He's like, I thought that was weird. He's like, that was a weird raise. I was like, I didn't even know you were in the hand. I messed up. So I took a chunk there. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like down now. I got to pick a spot. So it then got into the bounty range. We now were in the 300s. People were now firing for that. And it's like, we talked about the mystery bounties before, And so it's funny because like as soon as the first bounties, everyone's like, because the minimum was $500 on the pools, right? Mm-hmm. So like they'd be like, and the next bounty, it's 500. Everyone's like, yeah, like everyone's cheering.
Seriously, everyone just hating on everyone pulling anything higher than a $500.
So everyone's excited.
Bounty.
So there was 3 major big ones. There was a $250K and then 2 100Ks. And so none of them pulled. There was about 270, 280 people left, and I was like getting low. I get ace king again. I open, I don't even know, maybe like 12, 15 big blinds, something like that, and shove it in. And then Dodd's behind me. Now, Dodd's got a stack at this point, right? And so at this point, I know he's just calling super wide. And
Well, he wants your bounty.
yeah,
for sure.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he goes all in over the top of me. I think I had like 11 or 12 to be exact in my head. He goes over the top of me, and I'm like, okay, he's got a pair. I'm flipping. I'll take that isolation. But then there's another stack behind him who Dodd has covered, but this guy has stacks as well, and he's tanking. So I got ace king. So now I'm like, all right, one dude overshoved, and now another dude's tanking. I'm crushed. Like I'm hoping he has kings because then at least my ace might be salvaged.
If he's tanking, he's got to be tanking with like queens, kings,
aces.
And no, he's not tanking with aces.
Well,
queens,
true.
kings, maybe jacks.
So I'm hoping in my head. I remember thinking like, I hope he has worse. But I'm thinking in my head like, I'm hoping just kings here. And my ace is still good, or whatever. But that's so he calls. So Dodd flips over ace 10, which is what it is because he's just trying to scoop bounties.
Yeah.
And he's got a stack to do, and it's only 10 big blinds, and he figures ace is good. So I feel good against that. I'm like, okay, good. The other dude flips over. I can't remember if it was 8-9 or 9-10.
Stop.
And and it was like he tanked with this. He was thinking about it, and I was expecting at worst to see like maybe ace jack, ace queen suited, like that kind of hand where it's like maybe I'm behind, but if they got both small pairs, maybe I have a good chance to flip here. Like that's what I'm thinking. Maybe he's powerhouse on kings and worried that Dodd has aces. He doesn't want to lose. Flips over like 8-9 suited, and I'm like. And then, like, one dude's on the table is like, I'll take the 8-9 suit. I'm like, here we go. I'm just going to pack up now. Like, it's time to roll.
Yeah, bye.
And somehow, magically, my ace-king holds. And I end up getting tripled up, chipped up now at this point. And then a little bit later, a couple hands after that, there's about 250 players left. None of the big ones have been pulled. I think I had ace-queen. A dude went all in with, like, 4 or 5 big blinds, something like that, with, like, ace-5 or something like that. I call with ace-queen. I think that's how it was. And then my hand held, and I got my first bounty. So we talked about this before with mystery bounties. People are always conversating at the table. They're like, do you cash it in right away or do you collect them and wait?
Cash it in right away.
So here's the thing, and this is, I mean, listen, people are saying like, well, you have better odds if you do this. But here's the thing, and it's just like, the old deal or no deal game show. Once those big prizes are out.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Those equity of each one. So like if you add up all the money, the 250K, 100K, 100K, each and all the 500s, you put it all together.
Yes.
Each chance, if you like broke it down individually of like zero, value of like what it'd be, each one at that point is worth like $3 or $4 grand.
100, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But once you take out a 250 or 100,
that comes down substantially.
It drops substantially. So my thought is that you should always take it if the option is there to take it. Like if you can cash in, you should always cash it in. Some dude's like, you should wait. So when I scooped that bounty, everyone's like looking. And they were like, what are you doing? Like, because I think I was like, I might have been the second guy on the table that got one, or the first or second. No, because Dodd
knocked the other dude out.
And he pulled a 500. And so they're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, come on, I'm going for it right now.
Fucking A right.
And I was like positively charged. Like I told you before, I had a vision earlier in the day, so which is crazy. I was like, I knew I was going to pull something big. It just like was in my head. And so... They're like, and apparently when I walked away, a dude on the table said, that dude's pulling a big one, which is weird too, right? Like, I mean, I hate to think of fate. Like, I'm not a guy that deals with it.
So we talked about this off camera, and I'm not even kidding. So I had like 2 horses in the race because I couldn't pull a scrap together to play. Plus, it was like the beginning of the new year, like work wasn't going to work. So I had stake in you and another guy. And I specifically said to the other guy, like right before the event, I'm like, dude, I don't know what it is, but I have this really like strong feeling that one of you two is going to do something big, whether you're going to pull a huge bounty or whether you're going to make a deep run. Well, he obviously
he made day 2.
He made day 2.
Yeah.
He ran into some unfortunate hands or early on where kind of just didn't go his way, but when I saw the phone ring and you called me, like my heart skipped a beat because there was 2 things that went through mine. I'm like, either this motherfucker just pulled a huge bounty or he busted out in like the sickest spot ever. Because normally you don't call me, you'll just text me like
I'm out,
busted, and you're just like
and
miserable.
I don't want to talk to anyone for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
I need like a 2 hour. Like...
So when I saw my phone ringing like unprompted, my heart was like.
I walked over to the thing because it was like a pool thing. They had like envelopes in there.
Yeah.
And so the girl that was taking the pictures of everyone opening, her name's Rachel. She's awesome. Shout out to Rachel. She's actually engaged to, I don't know if you remember the Golden Blazer. He was an online, he's an online poker player, streamer.
Yeah.
So his girlfriend, they live in, or in fiance, they live in Vegas, and she was the photographer for the event. So I saw her earlier, and we were talking for like a quick second, and she was taking the pictures, and then the other executive, whoever from BetMGM was there, and I like said to him, like, I was like, I literally said, I'm using my one time right now, right here. Like I said it, but I wish they would have recorded it because it would have went viral.
Dude,
like,
I would love to have seen.
It wasn't
shocked
recorded.
They didn't record
They
it.
did after that.
Yeah.
They did after that, like later, but they were just taking pictures of everyone,
Yeah.
like get initial reaction. And so I like literally said, I'm using my one time right now. Here we go. And I just like dove in deep, pulled it, and then opened it, the envelope. Now it was like folded like 3 times over. Like, dude, think of like Willy Wonka when like Charlie's like opening the chocolate.
He
like
pulls the golden ticket.
Yeah, he's like pulling it. Like that's how I was. And so I saw.
That's how I play 3-card.
Yes,
but
you
go
like
ahead.
peel it, like sweat it, like
yes.
it's complete degenerate.
Yeah, when I play 3-card, I sweat that peel.
So I sweated the peel, and then I saw 3 zeros. So then I knew. I was like, oh shit, because there was 500 was the minimum, which is obviously 2 zeros. But then there was like 1,000, which would have been 3 zeros.
Yeah.
5,000, 10,000.
Yep.
So on.
So
So
it's a decent one.
So as soon as I saw 3 zeros, I was like, oh. And then I peeled it a little bit more, and I saw the 4th zero. I was like, and I just ripped it open, and I was like, my face just dropped. Like I was in complete
I couldn't
shock.
even imagine.
Like it was $100,000, and I didn't even know what to do. Like I was like, yes, like and I was excited, and I took some pictures, and so then Taylor, my girlfriend, she was down there too, and so I'm like, oh, I gotta call somebody. So I called her first,
Yeah.
and didn't answer, and I was like, oh, she's in a massage appointment. It was like that exact hour that she was in the massage appointment.
Yeah.
So she couldn't answer her phone. So then I called you second. I'm like, I just want $100,000. I don't know what to do. And I wasn't like crazy, like running around, but my heart was like running.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just walked out of the room. I walked in the hallway, made a couple calls, got myself together. I was like, dude, there's still a tournament going on.
How do you go back and play? Like,
I did though. Like, I just had to put it back, and then I walked by the table. Like, everyone's faces were like ghosts, like coming over. That's when the one dude's like, I said that like you were gonna pick something big. I just knew it, and everyone's like, congratulations, and shit like that. And then I had to keep playing the tournament, so I had a stack at this point. So I had to keep playing. Now, a couple quick facts. One, that was the only bounty I got in the entire tournament,
which is crazy.
I know. And
crazy.
2, I ended up finishing 22nd place, as you know.
Yep.
Got deep and then just got really cold. Got on a tough table with like Anthony Mayo, who's like an online crusher, bracelet winner. Anthony Spinella. We joked because there was like 3 Anthonys on the table. Who else was on there? Oh, Ryan Reese, WSOP main event winner. He's to my left. He played pretty solid. Tight.
Well, you played with Dodd for most of the day, right?
Dodd, but then that table, when I moved to that like last table, it was like a killer table.
Was that a redraw? Like a redraw point?
At 27.
At 27, yeah.
At 27, they redrew. And then, man, I can't think of half the names on there, but it was a crusher table. So I knew I had to pick my spots like carefully. Mayo was in my direct left. I couldn't really pull off my normal bullshit moves that I was making. He was just picking those spots off. Like I couldn't just raise in certain spots. And so ended up just faded out 22nd place. And but was happy with my performance. So ended up winning another $7,000 on top of that.
Yeah.
And then, rode out the rest of the week, didn't do anything. Obviously, I played the main event and a couple other events. I just set like a limit of like how much I was going to put aside. I didn't go crazy, as you know. Like, I didn't fire like 15 bullets into like the main dumb shit.
I mean, you're smart.
I was like, all right, I'm going to take X amount. Here's my stop loss. I'm going to take a risk. We're going to run it up and see what happens.
Yep.
So now, a couple of my friends are paid, including you. I'm happy about that.
Florida's pretty much on your dime. Appreciate you.
I think I'm staking half the Florida team.
No, seriously, half the guys going, you pretty much
are back.
Yeah,
they backed me in the event.
You've staked them. Like I feel like I'm obligated to give you like an extra percentage or something.
No, you don't have to give me an extra percentage, but we can do a nice like seafood dinner one night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, take you out to dinner or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine.
But what's even sicker about that whole story is the fact that we brought Dodd on the podcast. We went through a lot of what like his poker success. We talked about when you get back into the scene, when Northeast Poker comes back, first tournament back, he's in. Final tables that bitch.
Well, that's the other crazy story. Yes, I know.
Then the dude pulls the 250K out of the fucking the hugest bounty in the whole thing. He pulls it at the end of the tournament, which is absolutely sick.
Shout out to Ryan, but yeah, so Dodd and he ended up cashing. So he made over like 300,000 in
he
that
made like
event.
first place money.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Off of the two.
Yeah,
like even with the ICM split and everything.
So he pulled that, and here's what's also crazy is that bounty wasn't pulled till the final table.
I know.
That is crazy mathematical odds there of that happening. And the way they did it, they wouldn't ICM split the bounties, so they all had to pull their own at the final table. So they all just did a sweat and pulled it, and Dodd pulled it, which is crazy. And then shout out to Johnny Drama, who's an online crusher who actually has helped me in my game a couple times, working with some different things. He pulled the other 100K.
Yeah.
So it was definitely like a New Jersey online squad that pulled the big dog. So it was cool to see that, and that
that kind of goes full circle too, because we've been kind of like, I don't want to say giving Borgata a rash of shit, for those people out there that are listening, but we've been kind of riding them, and then we've been promoting them too, like saying, well, look, we got to get out there and play, got to bring this back because people want to play, blah 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 blah, and then it's kind of like, hey, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's 100K.
Yeah,
you pretty much got paid for the marketing.
Just so anyone knows, I definitely pulled it out myself. No one handed me an envelope like, here you go, Hoagie. Just open this one. I pulled out my own, so there was no rigging, FYI. But the event was super successful. I mean, they crushed every guarantee they had.
Yep.
And Kelly, shout out to Kelly. That was I guess she's the new main tournament director. She ran it super smoothly. Everything went really well. The only thing, I will throw this out, it's not her fault or anyone's fault. You played upstairs in that qualifier, right?
Yeah. I saw the tournament space.
Okay. This is the only thing that messed me up a little bit. Did you see like the lights on the side? They have these like artificial lights with curtains that make it look like daylight. Did you see these?
Nah.
And a bunch of other guys and girls were saying this as well, not just me. So it was definitely a mind F to me because it looked like it was daylight all day long. So it was like certain points would be like 9:30, and I'm like thinking about, I was like going to call my kids on break. I'm like, I don't call them. They probably just got home from school. And then I was like, dude, it's 9:30 at night.
Yeah, you don't realize.
So they had these long, just to describe, I'll see if I can find a picture. I'll post it on here on the video podcast. They had these long windows. They weren't windows. They're like fake. And they had drapes. Like they looked like outside windows. And it looked like natural daylight. Like it was set to a tone that looked like natural daylight. And so it's 2 a.m. and you're like,
yeah. Well, I wasn't there that long. I mean, you were there for a whole day.
Well,
I was only there for like 3
everybody
hours.
was saying when we were deep in the second day and stuff, like people were saying that, and they were like, dude, it's weird. But besides that, I mean, that's just a cosmetic thing. But besides that, everything went smooth. There was no real issues. The numbers were great.
Yeah, they crushed it, everything.
And so I can say this, and I kind of told you a little bit about this, but I don't have direct details. They just did the MGM down in Maryland. I think it's going on right now as we're doing this. Oh, excuse me. But some of the execs, possibly Will and Dave, they said that they would come on the podcast in the future and kind of maybe give us a little heads up about releasing some info, like maybe
future events.
And things are in the works. And he was pretty excited about it. He didn't give me details, but said that some things are in the works. I think just they saw how successful this was, and that there's more things coming. So.
Yeah. I mean, look, it is what it is. Not everyone has the bankroll for those. I mean, not saying that
it was bigger events.
It was bigger events. Yeah, I'm hoping that they do something for the novice. No, I wouldn't say novice, but the guys and girls that have a smaller bankroll that don't have the 5,300 to put up to play a poker tournament or whatever the case may be. But look, obviously didn't really make much of a difference because they crushed it. Yeah. Everyone that played had multiple bullets to fire at each event that they offered. So, it just signs to show you that poker boom is pretty much here, like 2.0. Like this is it. Like people are ready to play. Like I feel like there's so much more interest in the game, and that like will kind of segue into like what we wanted to talk about next. Like